Everybody, welcome. In this PnP webcast, we will talk about using Angular elements in SPFx using the PnP SharePoint Framework Yeoman generator. Together with me are Paweł Hawrylak and Stefan Bauer.
Hi.
Guys, do you want to do intro, a few words about yourself?
I can, yes. My name is Paweł Hawrylak and I work as SharePoint Solution Architect at EGIS.
Yeah, my name is Stefan Bauer. I'm part of the PnP core team and also MVP for Office development.
Cool. So how about we have a quick look at the SharePoint Framework PnP generator, what it is, what it's for, and what's available.
Yeah, so what we actually do with the PnP SPFx generator is that we take the standard Microsoft provided Yeoman generator and extend it with additional capabilities. So whenever there is a new generator coming out from Microsoft, then we are able to update our reference to this generator, and we are able to run different kind of projects based on this default generator. So what you actually get is you get handlebar projects, Vue.js projects, and let me show you the next slide. So you have the base is the generator SharePoint, and then we have add-on generator, which you can select from, for example, if you want to include always in your projects PnP.js or the reusable controls. Then we have additional framework generators, which are actually, for example, handlebars, Vue.js, or the newest team in the family is the Elements Yeoman generator.
Cool. So in other words, it simplifies adding other libraries to SPFx, but it also allows you to create projects using different frameworks than the one available out of the box, right? Because out of the box we have React and Knockout, and with this we can also create things or either web part or extension with Vue.js, handlebars, and now with Angular elements, correct?
Yes, and we also improve a little bit the default projects. For example, when you create a new React project and always install, for example, the reusable controls there, this is something you can directly select from a menu to install to all your projects. So other than that, if you use the default generator, you have to install first a React.js project and then add some additional npm installs after that. But with the PnP SPFx generator, you get way faster all the required libraries that you need for your regular development.
Yeah, and also I can imagine that over time it will be easier because it will automatically pick for you the version that works with the version of SPFx you use, right? So you won't need to go back in time and think, okay, so what version of that do I need to have for this? Because like things change, and at some point you might need to go back in time to the project that you created, let's say with SPFx 1.51 or 1.6, when the mainstream will be already 1.8, and you might want to add something to that, but then you would have to install the libraries from that point in time because they worked together, right? So I can imagine that this will simplify this scenario a lot as well.
Yeah. And there are also some additional things like, for example, we integrated the Office 365 CLI that actually has included which version is the project from. So when you run the generator on an existing project, you get a notification, hey, we currently use 1.6, but this project you're running on is currently 1.4. So it helps you a lot to keep your projects updated as well.
Cool. All right, so you mentioned that the latest addition is Angular elements, and that was built by Paweł, right?
Yes, that was built by Paweł.
Okay, so why should you scaffold Angular elements project using generator? Generally, it's easy way to use Angular elements in SPFx. You don't have to bother with all this stuff yourself. It's pre-built for you. We use two projects approach. So we have separate project for Angular and separate project for SPFx. And this allows us to use Angular CLI. That is standard tool used by Angular developers. And we can use Angular AOT because if we would do that in a single project, this would be the problem, because SPFx 1.6 have Webpack 3 and Angular AOT requires Webpack 4. So yeah, generally, this generator allows you to easily bootstrap a new project, and you don't have to bother with all these things yourself.
So comparably, right? Imagine that you didn't have this.
Mm-hmm.
How much time would it cost for you, given that you know Angular and you know SPFX a little? How long would it take, you think, to do the same thing to figure out basically how to tie these two together?
Several hours.
Ha! There you go.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, probably something like that.
Right,
So
right.
maybe 1 hour, something like that.
Well, I mean, sure, eventually when you know how it's done, if you've done it once, it will be just rinse and repeat. But I guess first time it will be hard to get all the building blocks together. And with this, it will just be done within minutes.
Yes,
right? I mean,
exactly.
on Windows minutes, on a Mac seconds, obviously.
And then you have the problem when you start your next project with Angular Elements and SPFX together, then you have to remember all the steps you did for this one project. So
exactly.
You might be trained after the 5th project or something like that, but you always, in the beginning, it's more harder than to set up the project correct.
Yeah, and also the fact, right, you don't create new project every day. I mean, I do because I test things, I write docs, I do things like that. But if you work on a project, you create a project and then work for a month or 2 or 3 on that. You don't create new project every day, right? So
True.
if there will specific tidbits, like things to think about, it could even be the case, I can imagine, that if you have development team, like not everybody on the team might even know the way the project is actually built together, right? Because one person did that and they know it, and then if they didn't tell everybody else in a team, they wouldn't know it, right? So with this approach, it basically empowers everybody to create new project and focus on building the Angular app, basically the app, and not think about, okay, so how do I make it work, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Cool. So with that, Pavel, how about we see it in practice?
Yes, of course. So let's move to demo. I will share my screen. Okay. Okay, so we'll create new Angular Elements project for SPFx. To do that, we'll create a new folder for this project. We will call it demo project. And we open this folder in Visual Studio Code. We'll open terminal. To create a new Angular Elements project for SPFx using PnP generators, you need to have 2 packages installed globally using npm or yarn. Generally, it's of course PnP generator SPFx package that contains our custom generators, PnP generators, and Angular CLI package because we use Angular CLI to bootstrap Angular project and to actually develop a solution. To do that, we can use, if we are using npm, we can use this command, npm install -g add pnp generator SPFx add Angular CLI. This command will install these 2 packages globally. And that's prerequisite for project creation. I will not run it because I already have this, so I already have this installed, so I don't have to do that. Okay, so when we have these 2 packages installed globally, we actually can run command yo add pnp SPFx that will run PnP generators. Yeah, it takes some time to start. Not so long, actually. Okay, so we have our custom PnP generators. As you can see, we have several frameworks to choose from. we have handlebars, Vue.js, and we have experimental Angular elements generator. We'll choose this generator, of course. We will unselect optional libraries because we don't need them. And generally we need to provide solution name. I will leave it as it is, so it will be demo project. And we can provide different Angular CLI options. Because as I said, we use Angular CLI to bootstrap Angular project. So we can actually provide additional options to this command. As you can see, by default, we are using SCSS as style sheets, and we skip Git repository creation. But if you want, you can provide different options. For example, you can use plain CSS if you want. I will not change that because it satisfies me. So, okay, and now we have standard SPFx generator. We will, of course, choose SharePoint Online. No, we want to create web part. Our web part name is Hello World. Can be. We leave description as it is. And we don't want to add Angular routing. So no. Yeah. Generally, this takes some time because dependencies for both projects have to be installed. So it takes about from 5 to 10 minutes. So we don't want to wait. So before this demo, I created a clean project that I can use to actually show you this. So I will interrupt this project creation, and we'll move to the project I have created before. Okay, so as you can see, we have two main folders. We have demo folder that contains Angular solution, and we have a folder with SPFx suffix, demo SPFx, that contains SPFx solution. Let's see what was changed in Angular solution to actually be able to use it in SPFx. There are several things, but the most important things are this elements build.js script file. What it does is that it takes JavaScript files generated by Angular CLI and generally bundles these files to single file because it's easier to import, etc. for several reasons. But generally, we take these files and bundle it in a single file. And this script is used in package.json script, a command. We have a new command, bundle, in Angular project that builds the Angular project in production mode, so with AOT compilation and all this stuff, and without output hashing, and then it bundles it using this JavaScript elements build. Okay, so we can see how actually app module looks, app module TS. As you can see, in app module we have a standard way of creating, registering Angular element. So we have ng the bootstrap method, and we create custom element here, or we call create custom element, and we generally define this element. Yes, so it can be used. And let's see what our element has, what our component, how our component looks like. It's simple component with encapsulation set to shadow DOM. and with single input that it's called description. And this description is, as you can see, in we have it added in template, in HTML template, so it will be displayed with some additional text. Okay, so that's mostly it regarding Angular project. Let's move to SPFx project. I will open our web part, Hello World web part. And you can see that we import this bundle that we create from Angular project. We import this bundle, and in render method we set inner HTML of DOM element of web part DOM element to our Angular element selector specifier, and we provide description from property pane, from properties as input. Yes, generally then it will be parsed, and inside this element we will have our web part, or our component will be rendered. Okay, so that's mostly it. Let's see it in action. To do that, to run this project, we can go to we have to go to Angular project, and we will build it and bundle it. So we'll use this custom command, npm run bundle. It takes some time, so we need to wait a moment. Okay, it's created. So when we go to Angular project and to this folder, you can see that we have our bundle.js file. Okay, so now we can go to SPFx project and run gulp serve to start Workbench and to build SPFx solution. Let's see if it will work. Okay, we have it. Okay. Now we can add our web part. Yeah, and as you can see, it works. We can edit our description, and it will be automatically updated. Okay, but sometimes it's not convenient to actually develop Angular solution in SPFx Workbench. Yes, so we can develop it using standard Angular Webpack dev server, and we can, for example, use hot module reloading. I will show this. Yeah, so we stop it this Workbench, and we will move to our Angular solution, and we will execute npm run start. It will start Webpack dev server and will build our Angular solution. I will open this address. And as you can see, it works because in index.html file, we have our Angular element with a hard-coded description. So you can actually develop your solution without bothering with SPFx at all, with mocked data, etc. And then you can adapt it, adjust it to SPFx and test it in SPFx Workbench. Yeah, so that's really convenient.
Cool. So it was really great to see it in practice and how easily it creates new projects and basically alleviates all of the pain that you would otherwise need to go through to hook up Angular elements in SPFx. Any last thoughts or words, guys?
How difficult was it for you, Pavel, to create a new generator? Because you already knew how to set up the Angular project, so how difficult was it for you to create a new generator for this?
It was rather simple. It's rather straightforward. So anyone can create their own generator. So I didn't have many problems with that.
Cool.
Excellent. So with that, thanks everybody, and we'll come up with new webcasts sooner or later. Bye.
Bye.